I'm not really sure what's next for me, to be honest. I think all the top middleweights are matched up at this point. So I think for me, really, first step is just get back in the gym, get back to training, and continue to improve. You know, when you just finish a fight, it's actually one of my favorite times to train because there's no expectations put on you. You can literally just get better at everything. So I'm really pleased with the win. I'm sure people are going to say that George was overrated or something now because he lost, when I'll tell you right now, being the guy that was standing across from him tonight, he's not. His ranking is very just and he deserves it. And it was just an honor to have the opportunity to fight him, and I'm thankful to the UFC that they gave me the first shot at him.
And a follow-up on that for Dana, what do you see next for Bryan and your thoughts on his performance?
What he said is correct. You know, when Santiago was over in Japan, everybody was talking about how he'd come over here and wipe out the 85-pound division. You know, this guy was a legit guy. He's on his way to becoming a superstar. You know, Chuck came up to me tonight after the fight, after his fight, and said, you know, when he used to fight more in the WC, you know, I never thought he'd get to this level. He says, this guy's getting really good. You know, not only, you know, skills are his skills getting better, everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is a home run. He's on his way to becoming a superstar.
I wasn't surprised by his performance. I think, you know, he did what he had to do. He couldn't just lay back in this fight and, you know, have me just chase him around and try and hope for a takedown or a judo throw. I think he came over here knowing that the expectations in the UFC are to put on exciting fights, and he wanted to do that. So he came after me a little bit. I think a lot of his slips were due to leg kicks. He fell twice because I kicked his inside leg out from under him. And, you know, I wasn't surprised by her performance. I think it went as we both expected us to do, and that was a good, exciting fight.
You know, there were lots of chants of USA, USA. How did that make you feel? Did you hear those chants?
You know, I did hear those chants, and obviously it's a career moment for anybody, you know, that could be there in that kind of environment. There was a lot of veterans in the crowd tonight, to include parts of SEAL Team 6, which I don't think any of you guys really know about, but they're actually here tonight. So it was an honor, and more so, they weren't chanting for me. You know, that was across the world in bars and people's houses across America where people were chanting, and that was credit to be bestowed upon the men and women who served.
I done this to George and had a few words for him. Can you share with us what you shared with George right now?
Yeah, I just told him straight up that it was an honor to face him and that he's a true champion. Thank you so much for the opportunity. You know, when we go in there and you get the top level guys on any given night, anybody can win or lose. And so the fact that it was my night, you know, I know what it's like to be down there laying on the mat looking up the lights, having lost. It's a really tough feeling, but, you know, I think that as long as two guys go out there and fight very hard, both efforts should be celebrated. But as fighters, we have the tendency, you know, after you lose, you go home, you want to close the shutters, you don't want to look at anybody, you feel ashamed because you lost your fight. But it's really not the fact. If you go out there, do what you're paid to do, like go fight hard, you should be proud of yourself. And I just wanted to let him know that I really value the fact that he fought me. He's a guy that when I'm 40 and I look back on my career, I'm going to tell people, hey, here's a guy I fought. Because when you look at his past fights, they're pretty darn amazing.
What do you set as the new goal for the rest of the year?
Is to be the #1 contender. To get to put myself in a position where I could fight for the title one day. And really that's as much in the octagon as it is in the gym. I think I'm still about 2 years out until you'll see the best Bryan Stann there can be, which some people may get discouraged. It actually encourages me because I know that there's still so many areas that I can continue to get better, and I think that makes me dangerous for anybody else who's going to fight me.
With you, or that people would love to see you fight Tim Kennedy. I know, you know, for the whole military thing, and Dana, I know that you know, do the fight for the troops and stuff. We haven't really gotten crossover fights yet with Strikeforce, but Bryan, does that even interest you? And is that something, Dana, that you could even see possibly happening?
Absolutely not. Does it interest me? Tim is a very close friend of mine. We're cut from the same cloth. I don't see a point. But if it's one of those things where, you know, if that's the path for us to be a champion, then, I mean, we train together, so we fight each other then anyways. But I can tell you right now that that's a fight that will never interest me. I appreciate Tim for much more than just what he represents in fighting, and neither of us would ever really be interested in fighting each other unless it was what we had to do.